you love flowers.
Who doesn't love flowers?
I love flowers.
Me too. They're just so pretty.
Did you know that there's more than 400,000 different kinds of flowers in the world? But even though there's a ton of different flowers, most of them are beautiful but kind of predictable.
They follow certain sets of flower rules.
Their stems grow up from the ground,
and the roots go down below the ground.
They use those roots to soak up water and nutrients from the ground.
And they have flowers that only last for like a day or two, or even just a few hours.
But did you know that there's some flowers that don't follow the rules?
Flower rebels.
What flowers are we talking about? Orchids.
Orchids have their own rules.
Today we're going to give you 10 amazing facts and take you on a tour to learn all about these amazing rebel flowers.
Let's get started.
Orchids aren't exactly an unknown kind of flower these days. You can find them pretty much at any grocery store or garden center, anywhere.
But usually there's only like 1 to 2 different kinds there.
Like this one. This is called a phalaenopsis. Say that 5 times fast. Phalaenopsis, phalaenopsis, phalaenopsis. Anyways, phals, as they're called for short, are the most popular kind of orchid in the world.
And they almost come in every color imaginable. So pretty.
But amazing orchid fact number 1. Even though the grocery stores only carry 1 or 2 different kinds, there are actually more than 30,000 different orchids in the world.
And they come in all shapes and sizes.
That's a lot of orchids.
And they're still finding new ones every year.
So there's still a chance to discover an orchid that's never been seen before. We mentioned that the orchids don't follow the usual plant rules. But what exactly do we mean by that? We're going to take a trip to the Chicago Botanic Garden's Annual Orchid Show to answer that question. Oh, it's so cold today. I can't wait to get inside. This is just the first room. The Chicago Botanic Garden puts on an orchid show every year, and each year has a different theme. This year's called India Blooms, and it is seriously so beautiful.
It has so many colors and beautiful flowers.
We had to see every inch of this place before getting to work.
Cue the music. I want that car.
Do you think that one would fit in my bedroom? Probably not. But getting back on track. Okay, now that we're here, back to those orchid facts. How is it that orchids don't follow the usual rules?
Most normal plants grow up from the ground like this one.
But not orchids.
Amazing orchid fact number 2. Most orchids do not grow from the ground.
Instead, they grow on top of other plants.
That's a fun place to grow.
A fancy name for plants that grow like this is epiphyte. And orchids actually aren't the only epiphyte in the world.
Some ferns are also all air plants and bromeliads.
Those are all cool plants.
But how can they grow that way? Most plants soak up the water and nutrients from the ground. But orchids aren't in the ground, so how do they get theirs?
Amazing orchid fact number 3. Orchids have special roots to help them soak up water and nutrients directly from the air.
Check out these orchid roots.
Orchids can have some seriously impressive roots. I mean, these here are bigger than me. Some orchids do grow in the ground like most plants, but about 70% of them don't. This is why epiphyte orchid roots look a little different than regular plant roots. See how the orchid root looks kind of whitish? And it's much thicker than this onion root? That white layer is how they soak up their water and food. And it keeps the water from coming back out after. Watch what happens when I spray it with water. It turns green. That's the orchid absorbing the water. It's like an orchid science experiment.
Orchids also use these crazy roots to hold themselves in place. That's how they stay in all these weird places.
These crazy orchid roots bring us to amazing orchid fact number 4. Most orchids live in wet places, like rainforests and jungles.
Because they need rain or humidity in the air to get their water.
That might be one of the few downfalls of the crazy roots.
Or is it?
Amazing orchid fact number 5. About 70% of orchids live in the rainforest. But that means 30% don't. And that 30% can live in some really surprising places. Like right here in Illinois, where we get really cold winter, complete with snow and ice every year. We have about 45 different orchids here in Illinois. That's more than they have in Hawaii. How cool is that?
Orchids live in every part of the world except for Antarctica and the dry desert.
Now we know how and where orchids grow. Time for some more amazing facts.
Amazing orchid fact number 6. Orchid flowers last longer than almost any other flowers in the world.
Most plants have flowers that only last for a day or two, and sometimes even just a few hours.
But most orchids have flowers that last for weeks, sometimes even months. That's part of why they're so popular.
Those flowers come in all shapes and different colors too. And amazing orchid fact number 7. Some of those flowers can even look like animals. Check this out. This one's called clamshell orchid, but I think it looks more like a jellyfish. This one looks like an alien squid. I like it. And there's a whole group of orchids that looks like monkeys. Do you see the monkey faces?
Even the super common fowl orchid is sometimes called a moth orchid because it kind of looks like a moth. Oh wait, amazing orchid fact number 8. Have you ever heard of vanilla? Like the cupcake flavor.
Vanilla actually comes from an orchid.
An orchid seed pod to be exact.
Look, a baby vanilla plant.
This plant will grow to make tasty treats.
So if you like vanilla cake, think an orchid.
So good. Amazing orchid fact number 9. Not all orchids have bright fancy flowers. Like these. Some orchids actually have really tiny flowers. So small you have to look really close to see the details. And some have green flowers that basically blend in with the leaves. But why aren't all orchid flowers bright and showy? Because some orchids use smell to attract pollinators. So they don't need big fancy flowers like this to get attention. This flower's as big as my head.
I wish there was a smell-o-meter on YouTube, because that flower smells fantastic. And that brings us to the last amazing orchid fact. Even if you have seasonal allergies, you can still smell an orchid and not sneeze.
How does that work?
There's 2 ways flowers get pollinated. Wind and pollinators, like bees, butterflies, and birds. But it's only the wind-pollinated flowers that cause allergies. That's because the pollen is so small and light that it floats right through the wind and straight into your nose. But animal-pollinated flowers have big, heavy pollen that doesn't fly through the wind. It needs a pollinator animal to carry it.
So basically, any flower you ever see that has bugs all over it won't make you sneeze. Maybe just wait till the bees go away before you try to smell it.
And orchids are on the no sneeze list. So smell away. So there you have it, friends. 10 amazing facts about orchids and a sneak peek inside the Chicago Botanic Garden's Annual Orchid Show.
Thanks for watching.
Give us a thumbs up.
Subscribe.
And if you're ever in the Chicago area in February or March, be sure to check out the Annual Orchid Show. It's worth it.
See you next time. Bye.